Welcome to yet another session where we'll be talking about living things and non-living things. So let's get started. Now, question will become, what are living things? What are living things? Because from knowing what is a living thing, you will know what is not a living thing. Living things are organisms that has life. That is, it possesses all the characteristics, features that enables it to perform certain activities that non-living things cannot perform. So basically, living things are beings or things that have life, organisms that have life, that can perform tasks, that can do things, that can move around. Non-living things are items or things that doesn't have life. They cannot move around. They cannot perform, they can perform a task, but they need an external force to help them to perform that task. Take, for example, the seat you're sitting right now, the table in your parlor, or rather in your living room, the TV you're having. It's not when you punch the remote control that it functions, so it needs you to do something. It needs a living thing, or a living being, or a living organism to do something before it can function very well. But living things, you don't need any other push for it to move around. I mean, you move around with your legs, quite all right. So you need, living things don't need any external forces. Note, inanimate objects are non-living things. Things that are not alive, things that are not moving, they are all non-living things. I've already cited a few examples. We will see more as we go on. The characteristics of living things can be used to make differences between plants and animals. So our focal points today will be mostly on living things, basically plants and animals. But we will still touch on varying parts of other organisms and perhaps also non-living things, because we are going to be comparing them, finding the similarity they share with living things, if there are any. Examples of living and non-living things. Some examples of living things include the following organisms: the goat, sheep, bird, cow, toad, rat, rabbit, earthworm, tapeworm, housefly, maize plant, mango tree, orange tree, coconut tree, rhizopus, and oglena, etc. Now let me just point this a bit. Now when we talk about the worms, they are parasites. So yeah, parasites are living things. But there are other things that are even smaller than parasites. There are other things that are so small, they are not easily detectable. They are also an organism that are living. We are organisms. These things are also organisms, but they are very, very tiny or small. And due to their minute size, they are called microbes, or in full, microorganisms. Things like bacteria, viruses, protozoas, and the nematodes and all those things. These are all microbic organisms. They are very small, so you need a microscope to view them. But they are alive, they are moving. And some of them tends to cause, or together they bring about some of the infectious diseases we have around the world. So the disease we go through, things like our plasmodium, which is led by the Anopheles mosquitoes, that brings about malaria in our body. Yes, some of these minute organisms are the ones that are causing it. And some of them are even more prolific, more fatal than the bigger organisms, say for example your snake and the rest. Now also to add to this knowledge, the sheer size of those organisms, and or rather the sheer effect of, or the impact of those organisms doesn't necessarily make them bad completely. So those microorganisms are very, very important for we living things. Living organisms depend on them. So they bring about nutrients. So they even create about some combination that takes care of other diseases and infection. So the combination of some disease or the knowledge we gain from some disease will tell you how some of the disease acts, and we can use that to also boost our immune system or fight some of the viruses in our body. Take for example, in the year 2020, planet Earth was hit with a new type of infectious disease known as coronavirus, otherwise referred to or famously referred to as COVID-19. Now, this infectious disease was a transmittable disease. It can be transmitted from, or a communicable disease. It means it's transmissive. It can be transmitted from one organism to the next organism. The way the world used in fighting it was to study more about this infectious disease, know how it behaves, and even use from it to create the jabs, the counteractive effect, what to use to counteract the impact of this disease. So, yeah, those kind of diseases can cause a lot of problem in your body, but some of them can also aid you in fighting some of the infections you have in your body. So, having said that about the living organisms, now let's see the non-living things, which are stone, pen, book, table, chair, bag, pencil, your shoe, your water, cup. Although some people will say water have a mind of its own because nobody tells the water where to go, so that it changes its motion, it changes its movements. But it's also acting with respect to another force, wind. So you see, it's not acting alone. Hence, water, if you keep it on its own, it's not going to move, except you add some force to it, a wind or a different energy to now move. So it won't move on its own. But if you blow on it, the wave will show. So, or if you put your hand in it, you'll see some ripples. You can do some experiment. Just have water, put your hand inside, you'll see a ripple. Or just put a drop of water into a bigger vacuum of water. You'll see there will be a ripple effect, a kind of a wave. That wave is because or due to the impact of an external force, a dropping, or a hand dipped inside, or a wind being blown on it. These are what we're talking about. Cup, we have the bucket, air, radio, handset, cleaner, etc. In fact, as a matter of fact, any organism, any object, any item, anything that cannot function without the access point to an external force, without the help of another object or another force or pulling something, that thing is an inanimate object, one, and thus a non-living organism or non-living thing. Characteristics of living and non-living things. Number one, living things can move, but non-living things cannot move. Like I said, they cannot move on their own except they are being moved. Number two, energy is required by living things. Non-living things do not need energy. They can, a chair can just be there for the next donkey years. The only thing it will lose is its viability, its texture, its coloration. In fact, the component, the characteristics, the properties that makes it a chair, that's why it will lose somewhat. So it becomes, for example, if there are external effects, again, we're bringing external forces. So if there's a rain hitting on the chair, it will lose some of its properties. If there's a sunshine hitting too hard, the materials and the chemicals and the elements used to produce that particular item or object will start to fade away, and the object will either decay, rust, or just become wane or worn out. Number three, living things are capable of growth, reproduction, and death. Living things are capable of growth, reproduction, and death. You cannot see a chair give birth to a chair. It's impossible. You cannot see a chair falling down and dying. It's a chair. It doesn't die. It fades, it wanes, it rusts, it's old, gets old, but it doesn't die. Non-living things are not mobile. They are non-mobile, means they cannot move. We've said that before. They cannot move except an external force is acted on them, but living things can move around. Number five, living things respire. Non-living things do not respire. It means we have a respiratory system where we breathe, but non-living things cannot breathe. Living things adapt to the surroundings and respond to stimulus. Non-living things do not do this particular thing. Living things adapt to a surrounding. For example, we get to a cold climate, we can adapt there and we try to fit into that particular climatic condition. Non-living things do not even adapt. It just stays. Some of them either freeze up or it burns down. If it's a place like a place that is very hot, it burns down. It does not adapt easily, except again external forces. And they do not also respond to stimulus. Means they are not. We respond to stimulus. We respond to our surrounding effect or the surrounding effect of our surroundings, rather. Where living, for example, you're cold. You feel cold. You have to put up your odyssey. It means you are being impacted by the situation of that environment, that moment. But non-living things do not even care about the cold around them. I mean, they're only there for us to work on them. Difference between plants and animals. Now we're focusing basically on the living organisms, specifically plants and animals. Difference between plants and animals. Now, I brought this idea from a bigger thought that is known by the mnemonic, or the abbreviation, or the acronym. We call it Mr. Ninja D. Howbeit, we are not using the D for now. We're only focusing on the Mr. Ninja, which is the 7. Now, actually, there are 8, but we're using 7. The 7 differences, the 7 basic mode that actually differentiate a plant and animal. Number 1 there, the Mr. The M, the first M, you can use that in remembering it. Mr. Mr. Ninja, Niger. The first alphabet there in the mnemonic was, or in the acronym rather, is M. M stands for movement. Movement in plants is aided by external forces. Again, here is the catch. What makes plant not to become a non-living organism or non-living thing is that we'll see later, it respires. For example, you must meet those criteria that were given for you to be a living thing, that were given earlier on. So if you do not respire, you do not move, you do not do anything, you are a non-living organism. But if you respire, you're moving, you're doing every other thing, you're a living organism. Dead bodies are non-living. Why? Because they do not respire, they do not move, they do not do anything, they're not taking nutrition, they're nothing again. They are just dead. So movement in plants is aided by external force such as wind and currents, while animals are active because they have organs for movement, like their legs, their limbs, their cilia, their flagella. Respiration is number 2, the R there, Mr. R. We have it, plants take in carbon dioxide. This is their role. They are very, very important for human beings or other organisms, living organisms to survive. They take in carbon dioxide, and give out oxygen. Animals take in this oxygen and also give out carbon dioxide. The Latin word they use for it is known as quid pro quo. Something for something. Give me something, I will give you something back. We take in plants' carbon dioxide, we breathe out our oxygen. Sorry, we take in plants' oxygen, we breathe out carbon dioxide. While plants takes in our carbon dioxide and gives us oxygen. We are both balancing each other and making each other to drive. So the question now becomes, let me pause here and ask a question. Why do we destroy our ecosystem by destroying our plants? That's a question for you to answer. The next one, Niger, the N there is nutrition. Nutrition. Plants make their food by using simple inorganic substance and energy. Plants make their food by using simple inorganic substance and energy. So they derive their power from inorganic substance, wind, and the rest, things that are non-living, that are not literal, that are not specific. They use sun as their food. They use the wind, the water, so many other components. The elements are their food. The soil, the land, which is earth, the water, the air, which is wind, the sun, which is the power of the solar power, the power of the solar energy. They use it in their growth or their food. While animals move from one place to another to obtain ready-made food and also derive oxygen. So we go around to seek for our nutrition, our diet, our daily meal. Animals are always moving around seeking for whom or what they can devour, both plants and other animals or other living organisms. 9ja, the next one after the N is I. I is for irritability. Irritability means plants respond slowly to external changes. Animals respond quickly to external changes. For example, there's a cold here, the plants will slowly get frozen or get the impact of the cold weather. If there's a heat around, the plants will slowly die off its foliage. But human beings, or rather other organisms, living organisms like animals, tend to respond quickly because the skin is designed in different variations. And by the way, animals varies too. So the animals with thick armored body like the elephant and the rhinoceros tend to regulate their body temperature very well because they can dissipate this heat because of the armored plating. It's like having a bulletproof that can take in a Kevlar that can take in a bullet. The Kevlar, as strong as the Kevlar is, means as tough as the Kevlar will be, means as strong or as powerful it can endure, or how much damage it can endure. So the body of elephant and rhinoceros are built to withstand external pressures a lot. Also, some animals are good in regulating temperature with their fur, their hairs on their body. Things like the polar bear. The polar bear, whom I was looking for his name last time, calling the ice bear. The polar bear, because of this thick skin, can survive very well in the polar region, the coldest region. In fact, it can even swim inside ice cold water and it will hardly get frozen because the hair in his body tends to regulate the surrounding temperature around him. Just like people that are hairy tends to sweat a lot more than those who are not hairy, those with smooth skin. So that's how this whole body system works. So plants do not respond easily to it. Then the next one after the 9ja, after the I is G, and that's for growth. Growth, we're talking about plants. Plants have unlimited growth. Plants can grow recently they found one of the oldest trees in the world. It's about 380 something years old. In fact, as dating back, it has even been said that it might even be older. They only got the one they even calculated was from the most recent foliage. What do you mean by foliage? The branch, a piece of it that was taken out. That one was calculated. The scientists have been putting some of them to be around thousands of years old, the tree, to be thousands of years old. So imagine a tree as old as 1,000 plus. That's quite a longevity. Meanwhile, the highest recorded human, if we are going by biblical standard, is 969, and if we're going present day age, is 152. So 152 years compared to thousands of years, you can see plants tend to go. In fact, the oldest living organism, I think, is a turtle or so, and that was about 300 plus years old. So it's not even still close to 1,000. Plants tend to grow. They have what we call indeterminate growth, means unlimited growth. They don't determine their growth. Animals have limited growth, means there's a time we will die or will grow old and become worn out and will die. After the G in the 9ja, we have E. E is for excretion. Excretion plants have very little waste products. They hardly release any waste products. In fact, their waste product is even beneficial for us. E.g., gum, latex. Latex is used to make leather. Gum is used to make our usual adhesives like our gums, our glues, and the rest. Animals produces a lot of waste. We are waste producers. These, I know, yeah, yes, we are waste producers. I know what you're thinking. Most of us, we use the washroom and the restroom like 5 times a day. What a lot of waste we bring out, because they are active and e.g., urine and feces. Even some waste come in the way or in the form of our in our natural recycling waste, the one we use when we eat our. Some of you that love tomatoes too much, you eat a tomato, you one that is bad, you throw it away, you throw away the one that is spoiled. Those are waste. A large number of waste that we release out is also beneficial for the plants. You know how the plants, again, like I say, quid pro quo, we are helping each other. You know how the plant's waste is beneficial for man, so to our wastes. Some of them, a vast majority of them are very beneficial for the growth of the plant or for the nutrients of the plants. We also have, after the E comes the R, reproduction. All living organisms reproduce, but non-living, or rather, plants reproduce, sorry, I kind of lost myself for a moment. Plants reproduce to give new individuals which are much more resembling each other. They much more resemble each other, look alike. E.g., mango and orange fruits. A mango will always produce a mango, right? It's not going to produce imagine a mango producing an orange. How weird. All of us, I believe we're going to curse that tree, or probably we're going to run away. But a mango produces a mango, orange produce orange fruits. Meanwhile, animals reproduce by giving birth to live ones, and they give birth to other living organisms that are not really a look-alike to themselves. They don't really produce something that resembles each other, except in the rare case of the splitting of some cells and the genetics of some people, where we have what we call the twin. Importance and uses of plants and animals to human beings. How important and how feasible are the use of plants and animals to human beings? Plants are useful to human beings in the following ways. Number one, they help in beautification of man's environments. Flowers. Flowers helps us to beautify our environment, give our environment a fitting look. Number two, they are sources of food for humans. Humans want to eat beneficial food. We love our veggies. Those are called vegans. They are vegetarians. They want to eat vegetables. So, and we eat lots of vegetables to give and power our body with blood and the needed oxygen. They provide fresh air to human beings by taking dangerous carbon dioxide away from the air and releasing oxygen into the air. So they help us to produce better air. The better air there is oxygen. The dangerous carbon dioxide is taken away from us by the plant. It takes it in, it takes it in and gives us oxygen. Much like the reproduction of human beings, where the female takes in the sperm and regulates and brings about the child. That's what the plant is doing. It takes in our carbon dioxide, which is bad for us, takes it in, regulates it, and gives us oxygen, which is a better and a more acceptable air for our body system. They provide human beings with industrial raw materials, e.g. plants for building. So they help us with industrial raw materials. Today, they are using plants to produce green energy that can be used to, we're dragging what now absorbing, or rather we are tapping into the power of the plants, or rather the energy released by the plants to produce even electricity. Can you imagine that? That's how much the plants can help human beings. They provide firewood for human beings to cook at home. Village setting will help us with that one, rural area. They provide human beings with roughages to run their bowels. Roughages is necessary for our bowels to help us release our bowels and clean up our system. They return water back. They return water back to our body. They return water back into the air to reduce the temperature to a bearable level for the comfort of human beings. They return water, you know the water cycle? Yeah, the water cycle. Plant is very important in that cycle so that we can have beneficial and comfortable air to breathe. They provide cloud formation by returning water into the atmosphere. Same process, cloud formation. It returns water into the atmosphere and forms cloud that gives about rainfall, and the rest is history, water cycle. They help to reduce soil erosion by holding the soil particles together. Like I said, the soil is beneficial for the plant, but also the plant is also critical for the soil formation by keeping the soil particles together and mitigating the impact of soil erosion, that is degradation of our soil, movement of our soil from one place, the texture of our soil moves away. I mean, imagine you're planting something, you're not getting the fruit for what you plant for. That's why the plants are important to keep everything together. So when you plant, you can have the right and the meaningful harvest. Now, in the sense of animals, the usefulness of animals. Animals are useful to human beings in the following ways. So animals serve as source of protein to human beings, when they are consumed. Animals are naturally mostly proteinous to our body. They give us protein, which gives us a lot of vitality and coloration and other pigments to our body, helps our body texture, help our body motion, and the body even helps our emotional balance too. Products of some animals are useful for human beings as food or medicine, e.g. honey produced by bees. Honey produced by bees are very, very important. In fact, let me go further to just shock us. Fun fact. Yes, I said that last time, I'm repeating it again. The venom from the snake is also needed by us for other skin or body problems, body system, disease, and the rest. For example, there's a snake whose venom is very, very good for chemotherapy, for the use of fighting some of these cancer-related diseases or cancer itself. So the snake venom is not entirely doom and gloom for us. It's also needed because from the cocktail of their venom, you can be able to produce anti-venom. Products of some animals are raw materials to some manufacturing industry, e.g. the skin. Some animals, their skin are used to make our leather bags, our shoes, our sandals, our beds, and the likes. Milk, we milk some animals to get as raw materials for our milk industry to get natural and proper milk for our body system. Horns. Today, most animals are being hunted by, should I call them scavengers, although they usually refer them to as a particular term. Poachers, yes, by poachers who go. But the problem is they kill this animal. That's where it becomes so vicious and so bad for our environment. They kill these animals and take their horns. Animals like the Cape buffaloes, the rhinoceros, the white rhinoceros, they are killed for their horns. I mean, it has been found that the horns of some of these animals are made of the same material that make our teeth. That means they have the ability to grow back again. Materials like keratin to help the animal grow back its horns. So why kill it? You can just probably tranquilize it or keep it and take. Even at that is bad enough that you're doing that. It's already illegal to do that. But now killing it is even worse. Where is our humanity? That's humanity as its worst. So please don't engage in such a practice. So animals have been taken for their horns also, and also other resources too. They are taking their skin. Some factories even take the teeth, some of the canines of some of these animals, like the reptiles. We're talking about the snakes, the lions, tooths, canines. They take it and they make necklace from them. Some animals, e.g., for example, horses and camels are used for farm works. Yes, horses and camels are wonderful farm herds animals. They help us in taking care of farm works, especially camels. Camels, do you know, fun fact about camels? Camels are the only animals that can travel without stopping. They can travel up to, get this right, close to 1,000 miles, 1,000 kilometers rather, without stopping. They can travel. They have the greatest endurance of any living organism. Camels can endure a lot. Well, they may not be as potent or as strong as the cockroach that have been recorded to be the only organism that will survive a nuclear disaster. Yes, you got that right. Except you are underwater and you are very safe under the water. The only animal on land that will survive a proper catastrophe will be a cockroach. It has been designed by years to be able to survive those kind of catastrophes. Some animals, like the horse and donkeys, serve as a means of transportation, and as well as the camels too, to human beings. They help to transport us. In fact, the elephant is used as a means of transportation in some countries, like such as India. The Indians use the elephant. Why they serve and worship the elephants rather, they also use it as transportation. Some animals serve as source of revenue to human beings, e.g. the hens, etc. We rear the hen, we sell it like the goats, we rear the goats, we sell it at the due age and get some money. Some animals, e.g. dogs, provide security to human beings. I have one of the best dogs you can ever see. His name is Star. Small, we call it small but mighty. He's so small, but it has been able to ward off so many bad things. I want to both living and long-living things or living things that move on 4 legs and on 2 legs, bipedal or quadrupedal. It has been able to chase them away. It's a very, very active dog, have a cute smell. Dogs, do you know that dogs have 5 times the smell of a human being's? Their smell is so strong, they can smell a longer distance than we can smell. As well as bear has 10 times, bear have 10 plus times the smell of an average human being. These animals can smell really low, further away. Your dog can be close to your gate and can smell somewhere at the back of your yard trying to get in, and he can be active that way. So it's good for security. Also your cat has been known to be able to chase spirits. If you add those that are into the spiritual line, they say cats can see spirits and the rest for security purpose. Some animals like dogs are also used for hunting by farmers and also for hunting by police, the law enforcers. There are some dogs that are very, very strong in their pursuits for human. Like I said, their smell, their nose, they tend to pick in some of these particles faster than human beings can pick it. So if you want to hunt for any object, or you want to hunt for human beings that escaped, if you're police, just get the clothing of that human being, give it to a dog, let the dog smell feel the person's odor, person's aura, and that dog will help you to hunt that person. It will help you to pinpoint the location and find that human being. Some animals are trained to entertain human beings. Yes, today we have so many, the dog shows. We even have in the Latin world, like the Spanish world, they have what they call forget what they call that celebration where they use the toros. They use the animals. The animals are like cows. They will be coming with their horns, like cows and bulls. And the man will hold the red cloth, and he will use the cloth to always distract the animals to entertain this. Quite dangerous. Sometimes it leads to death. It leads to dangerous effects and disasters. Now, take a look at these pictures. You will see some nice field, the living and the non-living. You have the tiger, the trees, spider, mushrooms, bird, flower, bear, fox, giraffe, fly, fish, frog. These are the living things, and many more. Non-living, we have the cloud, the pencil, the bicycle, the notebook, the chair, the drill, car, teddy bear, clock, plane, scissors, microscope, phone, ball, etc. I mean, every one of them needs an external body to function. They need you to do something about it. So these are the living and the non-living organisms. Finally, we're going to talk about the properties of living things and the non-living things. Living things are made of cells. They exhibit characteristics of life, like growth, movement, reproduction, response to stimuli. They evolve and require energy for daily activities. Some of their daily activities, some of daily life examples of living things around us are human beings, animals, plants, and microorganisms. We've already stated it. Non-living things. Non-living things do not exist any characteristics of life. They do not exist any, they do not exhibit any characteristics of life. They do not grow, respire, need energy, move, reproduce, evolve, or maintain homeostasis. Homeostasis. These things are made up of non-living materials. Such examples are like the stones, book, paper, etc. Your assignment today, go home and find the following as stated on your screen and practice it, get used to it, because your questions will be based on this. If you familiarize yourself with the examples of plants and animals, the characteristics of plants and animals, the uses of plants, the uses of animals, the importance and uses of plants and animals, the difference between plants and animals, and also the examples of animals that can give birth to live young ones or young one alive. If you know this is very well, you'll be able to deal with whatever question you face. Furthermore, we want to thank you for joining, but before we end formally, yes, if you look at what we are having here, we're having a pot, or rather a jar, having a house and a fish, a goldfish going around it. In that instance, what are the things, the surrounding effects, what can you point? Name or list the living things. Also make another list the non-living things as found in that picture you're seeing, the wonderful picture with the fish going around it. Before we end, let's take a question from our past question, or time past, a question that have to do with what we just heard today. Now, there was a question that they asked years ago. The following are characteristics of living things, except dash. The following are characteristics of living things, except A, excretion. Excretion is part of it. B, expansion. I don't know. C, growth. If I'm not mistaken, growth is part. D, reproduction. I think it's also there. And E, respiration. Now let's get it right. Mr. Niger D. So we have two arrows here. And in our Mr. we have M and arrow. The M movement and respiration. So respiration is carried. Niger we have nutrition. We have irritability. We have growth. So growth is carried. C is carried. We have excretion. D is carried. A is carried. And then we have reproduction. At no place do we have expansion. So our answer in that question, having found out that excretion, growth, reproduction, and respiration are found, the answer is B, expansion. So if you see questions like that, please, with a smile, with a happy mood, answer it nicely because you are a living thing and not a non-living thing. Till next time, take care, carry out your homework, do your exercises and also your assignments, and ensure you do some research on this. Till next time, have a nice day. Bye.